Great afternoon, niggas and bitches. This is another conversation with your best you with Drew. I know. You ain't hear nothing I said after I referred to you as a nigga and a bitch, did you? Didn't sound right, did it? It didn't sound right coming out of the mouth of a king to refer to another king as a nigga, did it? It didn't sound right out of the mouth of a king to refer to a queen as a bitch, did it? But we've accepted that. We've accepted as kings and queens speaking the language of peasants. I remember when I was younger, we would fight other boys, other teenagers, other kids, for disrespecting our girlfriend, or disrespecting our friend, or disrespecting our cousin, calling her a bitch. So now it's mind-boggling that now women are referring to their girls as a bitch. How is it that as a queen, it is now okay for you to refer to your girlfriend as bitches? Hey, bitch, how you doing? Hey, bitch, how was your day? Bitch, you playing. Bitch, stop playing. Nigga, what they got going on over there? Man, chill out, nigga. You tripping, nigga. How is it that we've taken a word that derived from such a dark place and tried to make it acceptable by taking the ER off of it from being nigger to putting an A on it and now referring to one another as niggas? The language of peasants. And so we wonder why, with death and life being in the power of our tongue, that we are speaking to one another like this and our lives are amounting to absolutely nothing. Because we've accepted the mindset of a peasant. We've accepted the language of peasants. Therefore, our lives are resulting in peasantry. You are a king. You are a queen by design. You were created from the King of all kings, therefore you cannot be a peasant. But you've accepted being so because you haven't recognized that you are a king. You haven't recognized that you are a queen, and you are accepting whatever this world has to offer you. Why is that? Why haven't you looked at yourself in the mirror and said today that I am going to be the queen that I was created to be? I am going to be the king that I was created to be. You are not a peasant. By DNA, by spirit, you are a king. You are a queen. And that's why it did not sound right, knowing who I am, recognizing that I'm a king, and speaking that towards you in peasantry. That peasant language did not flow off my lips the way that you thought that it would have sound when you are referring to one another in this peasant language. Had the honor, I was watching one of Bishop Jake's videos earlier, and he said one of the most profound things that confirmed where I am today. He shared an experience with us, and he said when he was in a state of ignorance, he was in a taxi cab with an African taxi driver, and he shared with this driver. He said, "I don't care too much for Africans." And he said he didn't say it in a way of being prejudiced, but he was saying that he does not understand them. And so the African king responded. He said, "Oh, why is it that you do not like us?" He said, "Because you seem arrogant. You come off as being arrogant." And I've experienced that with other African brothers and sisters. It seems that they are arrogant, that they look down on us. But when I say this, if you are seeking and searching to be greater in your life, this will resonate in you and send an explosion through your spirit and mind like never before. The African king responded. He said, "We are not arrogant. He said, we are what you would have been had you not been slaves. I had to pause and let that marinate for a little bit. Because what he's saying is that we didn't come from oppression. We came from the understanding and the teaching of who we truly are. Therefore, we don't think like you think. We don't act like you act. That's why we look down on you, because you don't understand who you truly are. And so the way that you're acting out here, killing one another, shooting one another, imprisoning each other, leading each other to destruction, he's saying that you weren't created to act like that. You weren't created to call that woman a bitch. You weren't created to call that king a nigga. You weren't created to do these things. Therefore, we are acting as if we were never enslaved. So us acting like this is arrogant to you. No, I'm acting the way that you were created to act. You just don't recognize it. He said, we are not arrogant. He said, we are what you would have been if you never were a slave. So we act as the king and the queen that we were taught to be, because we were never oppressed as slaves. So when you come out of that oppression of abandonment, you will see the queen in you. When you come out of the oppression of being a hustler and a dope dealer, you will see the king that is a businessman, a CEO, a founder. When you come out of the oppression of being abused, of being somebody's side chick, of being somebody's booty call, you will be that queen you were created to be. When you come out of that oppression of being a deadbeat father, of not taking care of your kids, you will see the king in you and become that king you were created to be. When you come out of that oppression of being abused, of being molested, you will see the queen that you were created to be. When you come out of that oppression of being that dirty dog walking around with your pants sagging and not representing the king in you, you will see the king in you. When you come out of that oppression of what they put on you, you will see the king and the queen in you. I guarantee you. When you raise your level of thought, your level of thinking, and get out of accepting somebody else feeding you, handing you something, you will operate as the king and the queen you were created to be. You are amazing. You are absolutely phenomenal. You are incredible. He said that I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. You think that a king of all kings will create you to be a peasant and live in peasantry? I think not. We are kings. We are queens. And we must walk as such. Do you really think a king will walk around with his pants around his waist, wearing the same designer belt that everybody else is wearing the same tennis shoes, Michael Jordan, that everybody else is wearing? Or do you think that a king will be in a custom shirt, will be in a custom blazer, will be in custom pants and custom shoes? Because a king will never wear the same thing that other kings are wearing. A queen will not sacrifice her life, will not sacrifice her riches, will not sacrifice her time, will not sacrifice her energy for another handbag that another woman is wearing. A queen will be in custom made things. I'm not saying this on a monetary level. I'm saying this on an intellectual level. And when you raise your level of thinking, you will raise your level of life. I know it, because I'm sitting before you as a king. I was a peasant, and so I smoked weed. I got drunk. I fornicated with multiple women because I was a peasant. But now that I'm a king, I'm walking in purpose. I'm speaking with the authority that was created inside of me to the king that's inside of you, to the queen that's inside of you, as I sit here before you as a king, as an incredible father, as an incredible husband to be, as a king. everything is inside of you. You will no longer speak to that woman like that. You know, will no longer say, hey, bitch, how's your day? You will say, queen, what is your day about? Speak to me, queen. How was your day, queen? What do you have going on, queen? This is the language that you should be speaking power and authority over your sister, over your mother, over your daughter. Death and life is in the power of the tongue. You're speaking death as a parent, as a peasant, when you are calling your daughter a bitch or calling your friend a bitch. Come on, man. I'm not preaching to the choir. I'm speaking to the hearts of the kings and the queens that are out in this world that are going through destruction and not realizing why. I come on here weekly and speak to you as such, calling you kings and queens, because that's how I talk to my brothers out here. What up, king? What you got going on, king? I see you, king. Looking absolutely incredible, king. Because that's who we are. That's who we were created to be. So come out of that oppression and start operating as a king and as a queen, and be you. Peace and blessings. I thank you so much for allowing me to speak this truth to you, because I know who you are. God has revealed to me who you are. Therefore, I cannot look at you as anything else but a king and a queen. You will operate in that. You will think that. You will act that. You will speak that. You will live that. Because that's who you are. We still talk about Martin Luther King to this day because he recognized the king in him and he operated as such. Was he perfect? Nobody is. We still talk about Rosa Parks to this day because she rose up as the queen that she was, and that's why. What legacy are you leaving your children? What do they see you acting like? What do they see you doing? How do they see you dressing? You can't call her a princess if you not have accepted that you are a queen. You can't call him a prince if you have not accepted that you are a king. You must walk that way. You must talk that way. You must speak that way. You must take action that way. So you won't end up in relationships again that you know that you're not supposed to be dealing with. You won't end up in marriages again that you know you're not supposed to be dealing with. Because you know that you have a king out here and that king is on his way when you start representing the queen that's in you. You have something that's inside of you that is pulling on you. It's inside of you, king. Surround yourself with other kings that see that king inside of you and invest in him. Surround yourself with other queens that see that queen inside of you and invest in them. We were created to do so. As African Americans, we are the only race that are not building with one another. What other race that is walking around and calling each other peasant names, niggas and bitches? What other race? So when we look at us as being at the bottom of the totem pole, being some of the greatest people that was ever created on this planet, you know why? Because everybody else is not arrogant. They are acting the way that we would act if we were never enslaved. Kings, queens, go forth in authority. Peace.